What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 40 again, this time ranking the top 10 winners out of this 20-person cast. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa. And guys, there are some things we got to tell you about this before we go into our top 10 lists. One, we don't believe that this is like the one and only truth. So, like, if you disagree with us, that's chill. We're chill. You don't got to like be coming for our lives. And two, Rachel and I kind of use different criteria to make these lists because I was looking at the winners' games as like a whole, like multiple, if they've played multiple times. I took all of their seasons into account. Rachel really only looked at the season where they won. And so we have slightly different lists because of that, but our lists are very similar, even though we made them entirely separately from each other. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's just our disclaimer.
it's really interesting, I think. We're going to start at the 10 and then go to the 1. 1 being the best of the best, the person we think has played the best game or games plural for Survivor. And top 3 are maybe the 3 people to look out for this upcoming season 40 of Survivor next year, which is super crazy, in 2020, which is wild. But yeah, Alyssa and I, our list of 10 people are all the same, but 2 people different. And so comment down below, comment in the live chat if you're watching live who your top 10 are, see if they match up with ours, because spoiler for the top 3, Alyssa and I's top 3 are the exact same, which I thought was wild considering we did not talk at all when we made our lists.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. So, number 10. Rachel, who did you have for number 10?
Yeah, so my number 10, I was sort of conflicted. So I have Tyson as my number 10. I was sort of thinking maybe Wendell. For Wendell, I didn't put him in my top 10 because I don't know. I was like, yes, he and Dom definitely played a very strategically dominant game. But for me, I was sort of more wowed by people who played maybe from the bottom of their alliance or who maybe had a shorter end of the stick. And so, no doubt that Wendell is an amazing player. But I think, like, with winning Fire, or like if Dom put himself up against Fire with Wendell, which we see Chris and Rick do this past season, maybe that's the new strategy for future. I think going into a tie vote finale, like if it, it goes to show his personal relationships with Laurel that he won the tiebreaker, but things could have gone way differently and Dom could have won that season. So that's why Wendell's not my top 10. I put Tyson in my 10 spot. I love Tyson. So funny. I think he formed very solid relationships with people in Blood versus Water. So the season that he won, a lot of people gave him info. So Sierra telling Tyson that he was being targeted. And then also when Sierra's mom won the, like, I guess like a clue to a hidden immunity idol and gave it to Sierra. Sierra shared it with Tyson, and then that's how Tyson found his second hidden immunity idol that season, or maybe his first. He found a hidden immunity idol because Sierra gave him the information. So I think it goes to show definitely his solid relationships. He's so low on my list because of the rock draw. I think, the rock draw could have had someone besides Katie going home, like Jervis or Monica. Or I guess Jervis was safe, but Monica go home, and then that would be the risk in going to the rocks at that final tribal there. So I think then things would have been iffy. And then like Sierra and Hayden could have tried to form a majority. But yeah, I think if Monica made a move on Tyson, similar to if people on Wendell's season made a move against Wendell or Dom, they wouldn't have made it to final tribal council. I think Tyson's personality can get the best of him and maybe rubs people the wrong way. But I like Tyson.
Yeah, I also like Tyson.
So
Tyson is also on my list, spoiler alert. So in 10th place, I had Danny as my 10th place winner, mostly because like a lot of the other winners I didn't want to put on my list, and she was like a decent winner. And I think the fact that she won against Stephanie really said something. Um, Danny, I don't really have a lot of strong opinions on. So, yeah, she was 10th place kind of just because I didn't want to put anyone else above her. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting. I put Danny as my ninth place ranked winner, winning Guatemala. I think she's a good winner. She's had 11 challenge wins throughout the season and then merging in a 6-4 minority. I think it really goes to show the level of gameplay and also luck that you have not being like totally picked off going into a merge down two people kind of thing. And like olden days of Survivor, no tribe swaps, you're straight 6-4, but there was a tribe swap that season, I think. But I think, being on the outside of a 6 going on to win the season definitely goes to show that you are good at the game. And I think she played from the bottom that season and then formed the cracks to get to the final immunity. And then she won final immunity, cementing her spot at final tribal. So I think that just goes to show like that you're a good Survivor player, especially I think playing from the bottom is a lot maybe more difficult than being in control the entire time. So that's why I like Danny for 9.
Yeah, so I had Wendell as my 9th place winner.
Wow.
Yeah, well, um, I think Wendell, the reason that I put him as one of the better winners is because he and Dom obviously dominated the game, not dominated, but also like the fact that he and Dom made it so their ally never flipped on them, even though it would have been most advantageous for Laurel to flip on them. I feel like was really good, and it showed like his social skill. The fact that he was the one who won the tiebreaker vote because of his relationship with Laurel, I think also shows his social skill. I don't think that Wendell's going to do well when he's surrounded by players who are also strategically competent, just because I feel like a lot of the people on his season were not all that competent. But I do think he did a good job at his game.
Yeah. So I didn't have Wendell, but I sort of talked about him at 10. For my number 8, I have Yul. Pre-merge had a very strong, dominant alliance. He found a hidden immunity idol pre-merge, and then I think he's on my top 10 because after the mutiny, he flipped Penner back onto his side using his hidden immunity idol as leverage. I think he's sort of higher up on the top 10, but still making the top 10 because I think if the mutiny went different that season and if the I24 didn't win as much as they did, Yul, Ozzy, they would have not been final 3 kind of thing. So I think things with that season could have been very, very different if the mutiny went differently, and that's why he's sort of lower on the list. And I think he's good at strategy, so that's why he's made the list. And he won 5-4 against Ozzy, so smaller margins versus people on our list who have won unanimously at the end. So that's why he's sort of lower, but still making the list for me.
Yeah, I also had him on my list just higher up. So I think a lot of it, Rachel and I said we only have 2 people different. Wendell was one of them. And then my 8th place person is also a winner, I guess. That is also the only other difference in our list. Like my people that I had different was Ethan. And part of that is just because I like Ethan like as a person. Like he seems like a pretty cool guy. Um I think his winning in Survivor Africa was really interesting because that was like before the age of immunity idols and stuff. And I always think it's interesting. A lot of the other winners like played games with immunity idols. They used immunity idols well and to their advantage. And like, I'm not saying that anyone who used an immunity idol to win like didn't deserve to be a winner because that's just stupid and that's part of the game. But I think that Ethan winning without an immunity idol, like without even the idea of immunity idols, was really interesting. And I'm also just interested to see like how that then changes like the way that he plays because he's one of the like older school players. And so yeah, I really liked Ethan. I thought that He played a good game in Survivor Africa. Obviously, he was brought to the final two because yeah, he didn't win the final immunity challenge, but he was brought to the final two, even though his like partner in the final two knew that she could not win against him. So it's like, I don't know. I think that he played a decent game, and I'm more interested to see like how his game changes now that it's like newer school.
Yeah, that's interesting because my 7th person is the other person that we have different on our list in being Boston Rob, who I have on my list and Alyssa doesn't have on her list. I just think Rob, it's interesting that you don't have him on your list because I sort of felt bad. Like all these, the big name people, Rob, Sandra, Parvati, everyone knows them and hears of them. Boston Rob, people who are casual fans or don't even watch the show may have heard of him before. And just in Redemption Island, I think he had total control of the game. Maybe because the people weren't that intelligent, similar to like Wendell's season where people just aren't playing the game. But I think having total control of the game definitely goes to show like you are or can be really, really good at the game. Rob in Redemption Island, separating people like, hey, buddy system, don't talk to the other tribe, like making the whole, like, we're the in group, they're the out group. Good strategy. There's sort of an issue because I think those people were all just like really dumb. And like, I don't know why no one tried to rebel, but it also goes to show that when someone did rebel, Rob shut it down immediately and then voted that person out. So I think kudos to Rob with that season. I don't know how these people got cast, but like, I think all winners, this kind of thing will not happen again because all these people know how to play the game. You're not going to be stuck on an island with 20 dumb buckets.
Yeah, the reason I didn't have Rob on my list also, I said that I looked at all the seasons that the player played, and like, I don't know.
Four
I feel like
times, too
4
much.
times is a lot. And then also just like there were 2 seasons where Rob played good games, I would say, Redemption Island and All Stars, and then 2 seasons where he didn't play such great games. And I feel like 50-50 is not great odds as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know. Like, I like Rob, but I'm not sure that he's one of the better winners, especially because it was his 4th time that he won, and also the fact that he was playing with a bunch of idiots. So.
Yeah, I think just if you can do what Rob's doing, similar how to Wendell and Dom did it in a season, maybe where the people are more intelligent and you can have total control and do those kind of in-group, out-group strategies and like build a whole freaking separate shelter and trick your dumb idiot contestants to do that with you. Like you have some power in the game and I would like, if it works out for a future season and the people aren't idiots, then maybe it'll be a really, really cool thing to see on TV.
Yeah, I think it definitely. I'm kind of scared that the same thing is going to happen as in Game Changers, where all like the good winners are going to be voted out first. But like, we'll see. We'll see.
So your number 7.
My number 7 is Tyson. And so I guess the reason I put him there was mostly all of the reasons that Rachel said. Like, he's good at like words. He's good at making connections with people. He's really funny and like personable. I think like he does have a little bit of like bite to him, but he's not like mean. I think also he won on Blood versus Water, and I always thought that was interesting because I feel like a Blood versus Water win is different because there's like an extra like layer of strategy that other like winners never had to consider. But yeah, my reasons for picking Tyson were basically the same as Rachel's reasons for picking Tyson. So
I love Tyson. So my number 6, I have Parvati. I don't really think there's a lot to be said. Everyone knows her game. Like, she's great. And you might be like, why is she number 6 out of 10 on your list? I was sort of iffy, but like similar to Rob, I feel like there's just people who are winners of Survivor that are maybe overlooked, and those are the people that scored higher on my top 10 list than people like Rob and Parvati, who are like king and queen, princess, whatever of Survivor, super, super popular, but I think there are better winners than her. But she's still great, so she's number 6.
I also had Parvati as number 6, partly because there are like other winners that I think did better, and then also just because like her performance in Cook Islands like wasn't abysmal, but it wasn't great. And I think that there's also something to be said for her getting to the final tribal in Heroes versus Villains and like not being able to close.
Yeah.
I think we talked before about like it sucks when people aren't good closers on Survivor because it's like even if they quote unquote deserve the win, they don't get it because they don't know how to talk to the jury. But yeah, Parvati's good. She did good in Micronesia.
You sound
Yeah.
so like bummed out. You're like, oh, she's good.
I mean, I just don't know what to say about this because I feel like I'm very biased. Anyone who's like watched our podcast knows how much I love Parvati. So it kind of hurts me that I have to put her at number 6 instead of like number 1, but also like it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what I was having difficulty when doing the list. We were texting. I'm like, it's sort of hard because all of these people are like fan favorites, and then you have to go and like judge them. And you would think that, like, oh, haha, Sandra's going to be number 1 best winner just because she's won twice. But in both of our cases, she's not our number 1 top winner or in the top 3. So I think it was difficult sort of going through the bias of like, these are the survivors that are constantly pushed down our face, and then these are the people that we actually think are the best winners.
Yeah. I think it's also just like listing 1 to 10 is hard because they're good in different ways. And so it's like you can't say like, oh, this person is objectively better if they just have different strengths.
Yeah, and obviously all these people won the game, so they're all good in one way or another. Otherwise, they wouldn't have won the game. But speaking of Sandra, I have her in my 5th spot for my top 10. Similar to Parvati, Rob, everyone knows Sandra's game, winning twice, and then Game Changers is just whack as frick. But I think Sandra has a really good social game, really made to life the whole anyone but me strategy that we see used a lot now. And so I think definitely at the end of Heroes versus Villains, when she started really picking up her gameplay, and she had the good social game over Parvati and Russell Hance, I think, there. And that's why she won Heroes versus Villains over Parvati, because she actually went and talked to the heroes. She formed those alliances, those bonds over the other 2. And so people underestimated her, and that's what they get.
Very well said. My number 5 is Yul, basically for the reasons that Rachel said earlier. I put him higher up because I personally find first time winners more impressive. I think Yul played a very good game, was dominant. Um, I think also a part of it is like Yul's kind of persona has been built up because he hasn't played again since his first time playing, and so everyone kind of like romanticizes him like, yeah, Yul was a great player. And so I'm really interested to see if like his return to the game like lives up to his first time hype. So yeah, Yul.
Yule. So my number 4, I have Tony, and then we'll do our top 3, which is the same for both of us. So Tony won Brain Brawn Beauty. I just think Tony's next level survivor player, just like the little things with his like spy shacks and everything, and is making like good TV and good Survivor. I think some of the times he created instances with his paranoia that he didn't need to create on the game, which is maybe why he's number 4 and not top 3. But I think with his total dominance of the game, I think it's going to be hard to repeat. and especially because everyone knows how he plays the game now. So I definitely think going into an all-winners season, he will have a target similar to Game Changers with Sandra and Tony. But I just think, yeah, flipping on Sarah at the merge, the hidden immunity idol clue with Jeremiah, just small things that really make him next level that I feel like normal people, when they're on the island, don't think about. And then it goes to show he's always thinking about the game. And then his paranoia, I feel like, is also his downside because that's creating the unnecessary things in his brain. He found that super idol and he never had to use it. I think definitely goes to show he's a great Survivor player. And he voted with the majority every single tribal council. And so I think that definitely goes to show also, because not only were you on the right side of the votes, but he was also leading a lot of those votes. So Tony's my number 4.
Yeah, I didn't put Tony on my list again because considering like the other season that he played, like he just burnt out real fast. Like he went too hard too fast and like didn't do very well, I guess is just the way that I like to say it.
For Game Changers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so rigged. We know.
Yeah, we know the truth about Game Changers, but yeah, and I think it's interesting to see whether or not Tony will adapt his strategy now that he's played more than once, or if he'll just have to tone down the a bit. So
yeah, which is interesting because they're literally casting Tony archetypes now. Like we've seen the seasons after Tony, you get like Joe Mena, like these people, War Dog even, that sort of look and have that accent, big muscles, tanned, and it's like, wow, you really don't want to be put into that archetype similar to like Joe Anglim kind of thing. And they're also doing the nerd archetype now. So really interesting. Like Tony created a new archetype. And so that goes to show he's great. But so you don't have him on your top 10?
I do not have him on my top 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. So who's your 4?
My number 4 was Sandra. Basically, all the reasons Rachel said. She's the only 2-time winner. I feel like even on the season that she played where she didn't win, she got further than like people thought. / she probably should have, given the fact that she was the 2-time winner there. And yeah, I just have loads and loads of respect for Sandra as a player, and I really want to see where she goes.
So our top 3, Alyssa and I have the exact same. So do we want to say the 3 and then talk about them, or start 3, 2, 1?
Let's say the 3 and then talk.
Okay. So you can go say the 3.
So in third place, we had Kim. In second place, we had Denise. And then in first place, we had Jeremy. So I think we're going to start with Kim and then work our way up to Jeremy and why we think Jeremy's the best. So, yeah.
So for 3, with Kim, she won One World. I think just like a total domination of the game, which we'll probably talk about for the other 2 as well. She won 4 out of the 5 last immunity challenges. So I believe she's tied with like Chrissy and some other females for the most female immunity challenge wins in a season, which like she's obviously strategic and athletic. So a double whammy. She was the leader of the Women's Alliance as well as like her other men's sort of side alliances. And then she was able to pick which alliance she wanted to go with, and she found a hidden immunity idol and never had to use it. And so I just think Kim is great, and honestly a lot of times forgot or overlooked because she is a one-time winner. So I'm really, really looking forward to see Kim play. I just think she had such a dominant game in One World.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Kim just like slayed. She like did so well in that game, and I feel like there was no point in the game where you were like, oh, someone other than Kim might win. Like I feel like, I guess not that the editing made it obvious, but like when you got to final tribal council, it's like who else other than Kim could win, you know? So Kim was just great. I think she is overlooked because she's a one-time winner, and also overlooked because she's a one-time female winner. So make of that what you will.
Yeah, so similar to Kim in number 2, we both have Denise Stapley, who won Philippines, also a one-time female winner. She's actually the oldest female winner right now. So that's crazy. And so coming back, I believe she's like 48 or something. So she's like, it'll be interesting, I think. She attended all 15 tribal councils her season, and I just think that goes to show basically domination. If you're going to every single tribal council and then not ever being voted out, that's amazing. She knew when it was time, and she knew that she had to vote Malcolm out and couldn't bring him to final 3 because she might lose or there'd be a split of votes kind of thing. So I think that was super, super intelligent. And yeah.
Yeah, that Denise is just great. Like, they're like, I think some people would argue that the fact that she went to all of the tribal councils meant that she didn't play as good of a game as she could have, but it's like you can't really control whether or not your tribe goes to tribal. Like, obviously, if you're like a physically strong person, your tribe might not go to tribal, but I feel like that's not as impressive to me as strategizing through every single tribal council and making sure that you come through it okay. And yeah, a note on like the age thing, I feel like this season might have the highest average age of female players like ever. Because I think the average age of the players I read somewhere, I think on Reddit, is like 35, the female players. Whereas like the average age of female players we've been seeing recently is like 25. And so the fact that like the female winners are older than like the average female player is just like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, right. Last 3 seasons have been all men. Chris,
Chris, Nick, someone who was 35.
Ben.
Was Ben 35?
Well, I don't know, Adam, and then that's 33.
Well, they all just kind of blur together after a while.
Oh, well, Wendell's in there too. So at least 3 or 4 have been men. Yeah, that's right.
Yikes. Okay.
It's hot, so I'm having some brain freezes.
Yeah. Okay. Then, so our number one person that we had was Jeremy Collins. And I feel like for me, it was really impressive that he played a perfect game. He didn't get any votes against him, and he won the final tribal council unanimously. And also, he did this all on a season of returning players. And so I feel like those three things together are what made him like the quote unquote best winner.
Yeah, I agree. I think the meat shield strategy, super smart going into his second time. He only lost 1 tribal council pre-merge, found 2 hidden immunity idols, played 1 on Fishback, which I think is decent strategy, even though like Fishback got voted out the next tribal, but building trust, and it's an alliance member that he could have potentially had if things worked out differently. The double idol play when he was safe and Kelly Wentworth played her idol also, super, super great TV. I think maybe things could have turned out differently if Kimmy wasn't the person voted out and maybe Tasha was that tribal council or something, then maybe he wouldn't have made it to final 3. But he won the end with a unanimous vote, and he only won 1 immunity challenge and then no other, which was the final immunity challenge. And he had no if you discount the hidden immunity idol votes, then he's the 3rd person to play a perfect game because he had no votes cast against him throughout the entire Cambodia, which I thought was freaking awesome.
Yeah, Jeremy was just awesome. I think some people would argue that the reason that he got like all 10 votes at the final tribal was because of the whole it's a boy thing, but I feel like that didn't change the fact that he played a strategically dominant game while also being physically dominant and just like he did well. He did really well.
Yeah, so this is our top 10 winners of the 20 of the pretty much cast that we know of for Survivor season 40. We're also maybe going to do a like most likely to win this season, because I think even though this is our top 10 winners, I think the people most likely to win this season are probably the people we would rank 11 to 20 on these lists. So I think my winner pick is not going to be someone on the top 10 here.
Yeah, just because we kind of see a pattern of like the good people being voted out first. I would really love if one of these people was the winner, but like Rachel said, that probably won't happen. So, again, please let us know your top 10 lists in the comments down below, because we're really interested to see like whether or not you guys also agree with our list, or we just have some weird like mind meld thing going on. Let us know other videos you want us to make, either about season 40, season 39, or just Survivor in general. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.